If you've been following Weekly 50 for any length of time, you know that I like to take lots of nature pictures and some landscapes and kind of recognizable things. But every now and then, I like to try something a bit more experimental. And that's exactly what you have here. If you can guess what this is, I was going to say, like, I'll give you a nickel, but I'm not going to do that. I'll be very impressed if you can guess what this is, because I don't think I would even know what this is. It's a fidget spinner, and on top of the fidget spinner is a glass ball, like a 2¼ inch glass ball that I've had for a little while. And my son brings this fidget spinner home from school one day, and it's got this tie-dye pattern. It looked pretty cool, and I almost immediately I thought, man, I wonder if I could get a cool picture of this with my macro lens. And I did, but it wasn't, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't super special. So then I thought, well, what if I put that glass ball on top of it? And how can I then, one thing led to another. And I kept on thinking, well, what about this? What about this? And what you ended up with here is a whiteboard, like what you have in a classroom. And on top of the whiteboard is the fidget spinner, and it's spinning. It probably looks like it's going really fast. It's actually not going fast at all. It's almost done spinning. And then on top of the spinner is the glass ball. And then on top of that is my camera looking straight down on a tripod. This was a 1/2 second exposure. And even if you can imagine the length of time or the distance that those edges of the fidget spinner are traveling in a 1/2 second, you can start to get a sense for how slow this is going. In fact, that was the trickiest part about this. I wanted to capture motion here. And so I spun the fidget spinner, and I realized that if it's spinning too fast, it's just a blur and it's not interesting at all. So how can I capture motion in a way that makes it look like there's something recognizable, not just a blur of colors? So I had to use a small aperture and a low ISO. I set my camera to ISO 100. And I just experimented with a lot of different speeds of the fidget spinner. I ended up setting my camera to a 1/2 second shutter speed, and I told it to take a repeated set of shots. If you do the self timer on the D750, and most cameras anyway, you can say, okay, start taking pictures after 5, 10, 20 seconds and take X number of pictures. So I told it to take, I think, 9 pictures in a row. And as the spinner got progressively slower, it took pictures with different levels of motion blur. And then the final result, the one that I like the most, is what you see here. I don't know what to say. It was just a fun experiment. There's nothing grand or groundbreaking here. Just a cool experimental photo to take. On the right-hand side, you see those giant windows. That's the door leading to the porch on right behind our house. And then there's a kind of a yellow spot. That's a floor lamp in the corner of our living room. It's I don't know. It's just a fun experimental photo that I really enjoyed taking. It reminds me of some of the other fun things I've done with the macro lens. And honestly, if you're looking to level up your photography game, it's been like 2 or 3 years since I've got my macro lens. I can't recommend this thing enough. If you just want to try something new with your photography, get yourself a macro lens and find a cheap used one if you need to. It's amazing what you can do with one of those things.